Friday night, the 11th, at the Hard Rock Casino. If you like food, who doesn't like food? If you like food, it is a great way to go and sample a lot of different food from around South Florida restaurants. We have the AvMed Golf Tournament, a beach run, Legends Luncheon. All these events help raise money. We have big corporate sponsors. TD Bank is a sponsor of some of these events. So we have big corporate sponsors that come in, and then we also have the community coming to these events to support our programs, which I'm going to talk about, I think, on my next slide. So this is our community impact, and this is why a lot of us community leaders get involved. So yes, I'm a community leader, although you made it sound much better than it probably is. I am a community leader, but we also have much bigger leaders in the community that are on the committee who've run for it. So the vice president of Royal Caribbean is on the committee. Ed Williamson, who owns maybe 20 car dealerships in Miami, is on the committee. The president and owner of Stiles Construction is on the committee. Many, many commercial buildings have been built by Stiles Construction. These are major corporations in this community that want to give back through youth sports, through education, community engagement, and legacy programs. And I'll talk a little bit about each of those. So let's start with the youth sports. So every single weekend in the fall, we sponsor Orange Bowl youth football leagues. And the kids are so cute. They're adorable. They're like the little ones, and they come with these little pads and helmets on. And we go out to these games, and these are in our most underserved communities. And we go out to these games. We usually present them with a giant check of $10,000 or $15,000 that was raised from all those other events that I talked about. And what that money does for those kids is it buys them all the equipment they need to play. So football is a very expensive sport to play. It is not inexpensive. It costs hundreds of dollars for the pads, the helmets, new safety equipment that's coming out for concussion protocol. They cannot play if we don't support these groups. I might cry. I've had moms cry to me on the sideline that without this money, their kids couldn't play. So it makes a true tremendous impact. Beyond football, though, we know football is predominantly male-dominated. We wanted to reach into the girls' community and see how we could better support them in sports. And so some of the ways we're doing that is through the First Tee Golf program in Miami, where we take, again, some of the most inner-city kids, we bring them out to the absolute ritziest golf courses like the Riviera Golf Course, the Coral Gables Country Club, and we teach them with golf pros how to play the game. This is, again, exposure that they would not typically have in their communities, right? And so we're trying to give them exposure to sports, to tap into their natural talents, to give them the opportunity to play, and we fund all of that, right? So we pay the golf pros, we buy their clubs, we buy their balls, we pay for them to go and take lessons, and then to compete in tournaments that will get them elevated to a level where coaches from colleges can see them play so they can get scholarships. And every year we have, I don't know, half a dozen girls probably go through the First Tee program that get scholarships into college. Back to football for a minute, of course, we still support that at the youth level. So the way football works is if you play football at the high school level, if you play at the most elite level, you're gonna get a look, and if you're a Heritage student, you know we have some pretty elite players that have come out of American Heritage, like Sony Michel, who played for my favorite team, the New England Patriots, for a long time. But if you don't play at the most elite level, if you play at what's called the D2 level, you're not getting a lot of looks. The colleges just don't have the resources to scout at that level. And so what we did a few years ago, I think 2018 we started it, we started a football combine for D2 and D3 schools. And so if you knew you weren't gonna get an offer at a D1 school, you were invited to come and play at this combine and to show off your skills for D2 and D3 colleges. We had over $1 million in scholarships awarded just this year at that combine. So it has tremendous economic impact. Most of those students are coming from marginalized communities who would not even dream about going to college if not for that funding. So youth sports is a very big part of what we do, but so is education. And so I think if we go forward a slide, oh, I already talked about that. So is education, thanks. So is education. So we dedicate a lot of time to our teachers and to our schools. And so a way that we give back there is really through these elaborate media centers. So again, some of our most underfunded schools, they just don't get the funding from the state level. Sounds like may never get funding again from the federal level. And so we go in and we build in these inner city schools anywhere between a $7 and $15 million media center. That media center is a library. It has brand new computers. Picture every piece of technology that many of us in this room are privileged to have access to every day. Some of these kids have never seen a computer and they're in the 5th grade. So that is the kind of access that we bring through education, again, raised through the funds from our corporate citizens and from the public through the events that I talked about earlier. Another thing that we do with education that I particularly love is more like boots on the ground stuff. So we have what's called the Orange Bowl Leadership Academy. And if you're a student at a Title I school that we've partnered with and you want to learn more about how to become a leader, how to work like Andre works at TD Bank, or how I founded a business, you can become part of that group at your school. And we come into those schools, we the Orange Bowl members ourselves, go into those schools and we talk to them about how to carve a career path, right? Because if you've never been exposed to that kind of career path, if your mom and dad didn't have that career path, which most of these kids, their parents haven't, this gives them an opportunity to learn about how to take a step up in life, right? And how to drive forth in a career and the steps they might need to take to get there. Next slide, please. Not last but not least, but community engagement. So community engagement, we really try to go into these neighborhoods also during the holiday season, right? Where a lot of these families are food insecure families. They don't necessarily know where their next meal is coming from. And so we go in and we do huge donations back to the community during that time of the year. And so, for example, we did a turkey giveaway in Homestead this year in a community there. We gave away 1,000 turkeys. I think we're aiming to give away 2,000 turkeys this year. So we're also always upping the ante. We do it as like a festival event. And this is a way for those communities to have a give back from us and for us to support them in the community on their journey through Miami-Dade, through Broward, and Palm Beach. So we were able to raise $500,000 in the prior 12 months to do that. I think we're on track to do closer to $1 million this year. Every year, we're always trying to push our goal a little bit higher as we have a lot of underserved people in our communities. Next slide. Legacy programs. So this is one of my favorite things that we do. So the legacy programs, we have 5, 6, let's go to the next slide. I think I have them listed. Yeah, we have 6 different parks and we have a future of park coming. So I want to talk about these. Some of you, if you live, well, like in Fort Lauderdale, if you ever go on the Sunrise Boulevard exit off I-95, you'll see Carter Park. Anybody ever seen Carter Park off to the right? Yeah. And also we have one in Ives Dairy. I'm trying to think of the ones closest to here. Those would be the 2 closest. We have Glades Pioneer up in Palm Beach. So we have different parks throughout the South Florida area. These parks are a tremendous expense and effort to build. They're usually built at existing park sites, not always, but usually. But usually they're parks that have been left in disrepair for many, many years. And so we go into those and we build a full complex on that land. We build a football field that can also be used as a soccer field. We build a track. We build a community clubhouse. Some of them, I think the latest one might have had tennis courts as well, or pickleball courts. We make it a place for the community to come and be and to have connection, right? So going back to our first presentation today, to drive connection through the community, because the more connected community members are, the more the community will thrive. And Carter Park has been, for me, a great inspiration. That piece of land is not in a great neighborhood. It was very much left in disrepair before we went in and revitalized it. And now if you go to that park, you'll see people walking there in the morning. You'll see kids running there after school. It has become an integral part of the community, and it gives kids a safe space to play and to be with family and friends. So it creates connection within the community. We're also committed to maintaining those parks I think right now our commitment goes out 30 years. It's going to continue on. It's in public-private partnership with the cities. The next thing that we're redoing is the Jimmy Everett tennis facility. So we run a pretty big tennis tournament every year, again, as a way to bring youth up through sports. We've had Coco Gauff has played in our tennis tournament. Chris Everett's played in the tournament. Lots of big names, especially women, have played in this tournament. The Jimmy Everett tennis facility will be built out on Key Biscayne. There was a tennis facility there. It was kind of left, again, in disrepair. We see a great opportunity to build that, to bring students from all over Miami-Dade County to learn the sport of tennis, and again, to advance their education through college scholarship and through those kinds of funding resources. So this is how we reach the community. So although we start as a football game, and that's what most of you think of when you hear the Orange Bowl, and it's what most people in the community think of, it is the game that has been really the launching pad for us to give back tremendously to the community. And so we spend a lot of our time and talent to do this. These events are not easy to put on. Each one of these parks is well over $1.5 million, around there, getting more expensive by the day to build and maintain. But we keep raising those funds because we see what the impact is to our community. Next slide, which might be the last slide. Oh, I already talked about the media centers. Those are all the media centers that I talked about that we've made over in all the different schools. We've done 14. I think we have another 2 in the works right now. So we're usually doing pretty much 1 or 2 a year. We did 3 in 2021, which was super ambitious, but we did it. And we did 3 in 23. I think last year we bid out 2, and we're doing 2 this year. So we should see 2 more come online this year. But all over the Tri-County area in schools that normally don't have any technology. So that's my story as far as Orange Bowl. I don't think there's anything after that. I think that's the end, right? Yeah. Are there any questions I can answer?
I'm sorry, I missed your title. Can you say it again?
Oh, so my title is, I am the president and co-founder of Bullseye Strategy, which is a digital marketing and advertising agency founded in 2009. We just celebrated our 16-year anniversary. I employ about 20 people here in South Florida, but also across the country. And I teach at the school. I teach a marketing class at Heritage. Other questions? No questions? Okay.